Americans' immense appetite for SUVs has been reawakened by cheap gas prices. A lot of people are flocking to compact crossovers, but many of you still need the space of a 3-row crossover. The Toyota Highlander and Nissan Pathfinder are perennial favorites, and they have been battling each other for many years. Now 2017 brings a host of changes to both models. For this comparison, we will be looking at all the important aspects of the vehicles, and awarding points along the way. It will be mostly objective, although some points will be awarded based on my first-hand experiences with the vehicle. Both models got thoroughly refreshed for 2017, so let's see which brand's crossover suits the needs of families best. First, let's establish the equipment levels and prices that we're dealing with. The Highlander's base price is $30,630, but what we have with us today is the all-new SE trim level. This trim is one rung below the top-end Highlander Limited and carries an MSRP of $41,150 with all-wheel drive. Add in a couple small options and you get an as-tested price of almost $43,000. The base level Pathfinder starts out at a nearly identical $30,290, but our Platinum level Pathfinder 4x4 starts at $43,560. It also has a few charges for small accessories and rings in at an as-tested price of $45,370. So in this comparison, the Pathfinder is $2,636 more expensive than the Highlander. Now that we have established the pricing, let's determine which one represents the best value. Let's start with the key fobs. They are both pretty much the standard affair for their respective brands. One thing to look at, however, is remote start. On the Toyota, it's mysteriously missing, while the Nissan gives it to you on this model and even on lower trim levels. So the first point is going to go to the Nissan. Let's pop the hood and check out the mechanics. A big part of both models' 2017 refreshes are new engines under the hoods. In the Nissan, you get an updated version of their 3.5-liter V6 engine, now with 10% more power, making 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque. The Highlander also has an updated 3.5-liter V6 engine, which puts out more power than the Pathfinder at 295 horsepower and 263 pound-feet of torque. For 2017, Toyota now pairs that engine with an 8-speed automatic transmission, whereas the Pathfinder gets a CVT which can simulate a 7-speed automatic. The Highlander also lets you shift manually, but it doesn't have any paddle shifters. While CVTs are getting better, most people still prefer a traditional automatic, so Toyota will get the point here. Normally, a CVT gives you an advantage in fuel economy, however it's not the case here. The Highlander actually achieves 1 mile per gallon better than the Pathfinder. The full numbers are 20 city, 26 highway, 22 combined for the Highlander, and 19 city, 26 highway, 21 combined for the Pathfinder Platinum. Now that we have discussed the mechanical upgrades, let's check out the updated exterior design and features. The first thing we're going to check out is the styling in general. Both these vehicles got exterior updates in 2017, starting with the grills. On the Highlander, we have the new blacked out SE grille, but all Highlanders get this shape. It's big, bold, and aggressive looking. On the Pathfinder, you'll also find a new front end, but it went the opposite way and got less aggressive. The V-Motion grille is now more U-shaped and it has less chrome than before. Coming to the headlights, they are fully LED on the Platinum, and you have LED daytime running lights as well. On the Highlander you have LED daytime running lights, but the headlights are just regular halogen beams. Even more expensive Highlanders cannot be had with LED headlights. Both models also have fog lamps. Overall, I prefer the front-end styling of the Highlander, but its lack of LED headlights cancels it out, so neither of them are going to get the point. In the rear, they both receive changes, but they are far less noticeable. The main difference is the new taillights on both models, although they are now LED on the Highlander, but still not on the Pathfinder. The Pathfinder has more chrome on the back, but is still not enough to outdo the classier looking Highlander. While we're back here, let's talk about towing. For 2017, Nissan upped the tow rating to 6,000 pounds, which is best in class. The Highlander can tow 1,000 less. Now let's start comparing all the features and specs. While most won't go off-road in either of these, it's still nice to know if you have the ground clearance too. The Highlander sets 1 inch higher than the Pathfinder at 8 inches. When it comes to the wheels, the Pathfinder has a significant leg up. It will give you 20-inch alloy wheels, whereas the Highlander only gives you 18 inches. For what it's worth, even the limited Highlander only gets 19-inch wheels. The brakes are a little bit smaller on the Pathfinder, but they are ventilated in the rear. Both have mirrors that are heated, power adjusting, and have LED turn signal indicators. They also both have blind spot monitoring, though Nissan puts it in the interior instead of the mirror. The warranties for the two are extremely similar. They'll both get 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranties, as well as 3-year 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranties. But the Highlander earns the point here since it offers 2 years or 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance and roadside assistance. When you drive either of these vehicles, you should feel safe because they are highly rated. The Pathfinder is rated as a top safety pick 2017, partially because of the pre-collision braking and intelligent cruise control safety tech that you get on the Platinum. The Highlander hasn't been tested yet for 2017, but last year it was an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, so that should carry over. The Highlander also gives you 4 advanced safety technologies standard on every trim level, not just this high-end one. They are pre-collision braking, lane departure alert, automatic high-beam headlights, and dynamic radar cruise control. The Highlander is going to get the point here for offering more active safety tech. The Nissan Pathfinder has a 19.5 gallon fuel tank, compared to 19.2 gallons in the Highlander. The better fuel range, however, still goes to the Highlander with its 422 mile range versus the 409 miles for the Nissan. Well, that's the exterior design and features, so let's move on to the inside where families will spend most of their time. Both these models have always had large and very functional interiors, and for 2017 they get a few changes. Inside the Highlander you will find a black leather interior with some small fabric accents. This is the only color option on the SE trim. On the Pathfinder you will also find a black leather interior, but you could opt for an almond interior if you prefer. Both models have 8-way power adjusting seats with power lumbar support, but the Highlander gives you power thigh extension, which is pretty unique in this class. On the flip side, the Pathfinder gives you 2-person memory seats, which are not present on the Highlander. Both have multi-stage heating, but the Pathfinder adds ventilation as well. The seat point goes to the Pathfinder. As you would expect on expensive SUVs, push-button ignition comes standard. They both also come with 8-inch high-resolution touchscreens. Cabin quality is somewhat subjective, but when it comes to these two, there are actually distinct differences. On the Highlander you will find soft-touch plastic with contrast stitching across the entire dash, which is pretty much the standard affair for the class. On the Pathfinder, however, there are no soft-touch plastics on the upper or lower dash, which makes it feel a bit lower rent. The materials are actually a downgrade from the Rogue I was just in, which seems really strange. The door trim is a little nicer than the dash since it has leather and soft-touch plastic, but the Highlander's does also, and more of it. Additionally, the Pathfinder's wood is fake, and it doesn't try to persuade me otherwise. I don't like the Highlander's trim either, but it still looks better to my eyes. The material quality point definitely goes to the Highlander. In both cabins there is plenty of space, and their standard moonroofs make them feel even bigger. On the Pathfinder you will find a dual panel setup which gives you a second bigger glass roof over the rear occupants. On the Highlander you only get a single one. Both sound systems are pretty good, but the Pathfinder has the advantage for sure. It gets a 13-speaker Bose sound system in the Platinum trim, while our SE Highlander only gets 6 speakers. A 12-speaker can be had, but only on the Limited and Platinum. Now we will check out the infotainment systems. Starting with the Highlander, you have the same Intune system that you're used to seeing in all the other Toyota products. You get Bluetooth audio, phone connectivity, and nice features like weather and traffic free for life. Navigation is also standard on the SE trim, but don't expect any fancy map graphics or pinch to zoom support. The Pathfinder system is a little more unique. While Nissan still calls it Nissan Connect, it actually uses the Infinity N-Touch system borrowed directly from its platform mate, the QX60. It also has standard navigation, and the Infinity graphics do look nicer than the Highlanders. You can also pinch to zoom. It has the same features as the Intune system, like Bluetooth audio, phone support, and XM apps. Overall it's pretty close, but I'm going to give the point to the Nissan for having 2 ways to control the system and more premium looks. Both the Highlander and Pathfinder have leather-wrapped multifunction steering wheels. Whichever one is more attractive is a matter of opinion, but the Pathfinder's is heated and power adjusting, so it's going to get the point. Storage space is imperative in vehicles like these, and both do a pretty good job. On the Pathfinder you have a 2-tiered center console with felt lining and several inputs. There's some door storage and also a deep grippy bin for phones. The Highlander still manages to outdo the Pathfinder with a super deep center console and this unique storage shelf that goes all the way across the car. Additionally, we have 3 USBs, 2 of which are higher voltage for charging devices, so bonus point for the Highlander. The shifter is something you will come in contact with every day, so the leather-wrapped one on the Highlander is certainly more pleasant. But when you shift the Pathfinder into reverse, you'll see one of its standout features, the around view monitor. This system allows you to see everything around the vehicle, and even has moving object detection and multiple views. This compares favorably against the Highlander, whose camera doesn't even have dynamic grid lines. Both models have auto-dimming rearview mirrors with built-in HomeLink universal remotes. The Highlander will get the point because it has the new frameless design. Overall, the Highlander's interior definitely strikes me as more upscale, and I'm surprised that the Pathfinder doesn't have any of the modern luxury vibe that the Murano has. Now let's check out the rest. The rear of the Highlander is spacious at 38.4 inches of rear legroom and 39.9 inches of rear headroom. It still trails the Pathfinder, which uses its larger exterior dimensions to give 41.7 inches of rear legroom and 38.5 inches of headroom. Once inside, you have a lot of creature comforts back here, but the Highlander is more dedicated to comfort with rear vents that are closer to the occupants and a rear sunshade. Below the climate is a household outlet on both models, and also 2 more charging USBs on the Highlander. The Pathfinder does include rear seat heating, which the Highlander doesn't have. Finally, both seats do slide and recline, which is good for comfort and third row passengers. Getting into the third row is easy thanks to the folding and sliding second rows. Once you get back here, neither is super spacious, but the 30.7 inches of legroom in the Pathfinder does give it an advantage over the 27.7 inches in the Highlander. The seats themselves are also more comfortable, and there is more thigh support. Third row goes to the Pathfinder. The tailgates are both power, although the Nissans can be foot activated and the Toyotas can be accessed through the rear glass. Once the tailgates are opened, you will find consistently more space in the Pathfinder with the third row up or folded. The actual numbers with the third row up are 13.8 cubic feet for the Highlander and 16 cubic feet inside the Pathfinder. With the third row folded, they are 42.3 and 47.8 cubic feet respectively. Well, that pretty much covers everything. Don't take the result as the Pathfinder being bad, per se. Just know that the Highlander is a more well-rounded offering. Thanks for joining us on this car confections comparison, and be sure to subscribe for more comparisons and our signature full review videos. See you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.